Hi there. This is Sharon Pierce for NDE Near Desert Experience. It's 6:22 p.m. Pacific Time on May 16th, 2024. I received a response from Representative Judy Chu's office in California Congressional District 28 that I would like to share. They responded to my query about what is the water factor for Congressional District 22, because it seems to have very little surface water, doesn't seem to be carrying, well, maybe a few creeks up in the Angeles National Forest, but not like in some other areas. So when the inundating atmospheric rivers pour down on District 28, as well as 27, 29, 23, 25 and 20, how does it work with District 28? And it was a very informative response that I received. I'm going to bring up some pictures here now, shared screen, just to give you a little bit of an overview. Okay, let's share this. This is what the congressional district looks like today. Now, this is 27, I believe. This is 29. These areas where you don't see much, that's just like Angeles National Forest or some publicly owned land, parks, regional preserves, and so forth. So this is where you come into San Fernando Valley. That's District 29. Now 30 extrudes up through here. And so it's best to be, I will have to do a little research on 30. I do believe that right in through here is where Hansen Dam is located. Lakeview Terrace is interesting. I've been to Lakeview Terrace in that it's partly in 29 now and partly in 30. But I think the Hansen Dam part is over here. 28, Congresswoman Chu's area, does cover La Cañada, Flint Ridge, Altadena, Pasadena, South Pass. I used to live in South Pass. I know where it is. San Marino and the famous Huntington Gardens and all of that is right over in here. Very beautiful, very upscale area. Arcadia, and over here is where Santa Anita Racetrack is somewhat. So this is her area. A lot of this Monterey Park and over and through here are many Asian ethnic neighborhoods and communities and so forth. All right, and it does go, it whips around 31 and comes back over here, but this is Los Angeles National Forest. Okay. So Hansen Dam is over here. Now, what she indicates in her message to me, or her staff's message, is that their area that they focus on when it comes to collecting water is Pacoima Reservoir, but just where it is, I am not sure, or they're concerned about Pacoima Reservoir. So where is Pacoima? It's actually a city or a place. I'm not sure just exactly where that is. Either it's over here or it's in through here and we're not being told. There's not a lot of water collecting the trillions of gallons that fall when the atmospheric rivers come through this whole area and up here farther north. So that's the big picture. Now, let me bring that one down, and I'm going to go to another screen. This one is a more distant view. 23 is Congressman Obernold's district, goes over to the Nevada state line, or almost there, almost to Needles, if not Needles, California. And up above it is 3, and just a little bit of 23 captures the south end of Death Valley. And then down off in here, south of 23 over in here is 25 all the way to the Mexico state line, Mexico line. Okay, so 26, Ventura and all of that. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing this. And I'm going to share something else. Just want to see for a moment what comes up on this. You've got, you can do without that. Okay. So there's Sunland, it's over in northeast San Fernando Valley. Hanson Dam, Foothill Boulevard. And this is Interstate 5, and this is 118 that crosses. 118, I believe, becomes the Ronald Reagan Highway or something like that. It becomes Chatsworth Boulevard, and then, yeah, this is the Ronald Reagan Highway. Order Ranch. So keep our eye on the prize here. This is Hanson Dam. Silmar is down here too, I do believe. La Tuna Canyon, Verdugo Hills, Verdugo Mountain Parks. And it goes up. 5 goes up and forks. We continue on 5 up past Santa Clarita. But if you take 14, you go past another one of my haunts of the past, the William S. Hart Museum and Ranch House. And it goes over to Newhall. This is Newhall right here. Valencia, Santa Clarita, they go off in that direction. You can stick with 14 and you'll turn off into, it seems like it's a long way over here, but it's Palmdale, Lancaster. First Palmdale, and then Lancaster, Antelope Valley. Okay. So I'm putting this back, but I did want to establish, I'm not sure exactly about Agua Dulce. It's not a place I know. Lacerita Canyon State Park, I used to travel around on these mountain roads. I was trying to figure out just what this water was. Was it Pacoima Reservoir or is it something else? I don't know. I'll find out later. So that's where Hanson Dam is. It's right up here. Here's Pacoima. That was the town, Pacoima. And this is San Fernando, the town of San Fernando. Okay. So we won't stop sharing that screen. And then I'd like to bring up the letter from Congresswoman Chu's office. And again, this is her district. It goes over these hills, the San Gabriel Mountains. It goes up and over somehow. And then you're on the other side, which is Antelope Valley. And so she says something interesting about San Gabriel Mountains. And you follow it all this way and you get down to San Bernardino and there's a pass through to get out of the LA Basin and the Inland Empire to go up through the what's left of the Antelope Valley, Mojave River, Mojave Desert, and out through highways 15 and I think 10 into Nevada and Las Vegas. So what we have here, water in California's 28th Congressional District, May 14th, 2024. The climate crisis is here. And we have experienced this with years of historic drought, followed by an unprecedented surge of winter storms over the last several years that have engulfed Southern California. The intensity and damage of these storms and atmospheric rivers, so with an acknowledgement that we're talking about the atmospheric rivers, have overwhelmed state resources and have required federal assistance, coordination, and action to supplement state and local efforts. Our region has also experienced, rightly so, extreme wildfires, droughts, and heat waves that have greatly impacted communities across our state during summer and fall months and severely threaten our water supply. I think that situation is changing. There are articles coming out about the water tunnel that the state is building. That might be the single tunnel from up above the Delta area in central North Bay, California, where it's going to be diverting water down through the aqueduct and so forth. That might be what they mean by the water tunnel, because there's only so many big projects worth tens of billions of dollars that you can have going on. My district is no exception, says Representative Chu, where some of the largest wildfires have endangered homes, while recent storms have helped ease drought impacts and reduce fire risk. There is still continued to experience water supply shortages. Improving our water storage, recycling, and conservation infrastructure is among the most important issues facing our state, especially in arid areas like ours. So she calls the south side of the San Gabriel Mountains in her district and so forth an arid area. Some might call it part of the Great Desert. That's why, after decades of chronic underinvestment in water infrastructure, push it aside, I am so pleased that funding from the president's bipartisan infrastructure law, BIL, bill, is continuing to make historic investments in water resilience and clean drinking water. Our communities will continue to see the benefits from this legislation for years to come. It's $8.3 billion in funding under Title IX, which is the Western Water Infrastructure, and I'm glad this is pointed out. The western part of North America. It's different than the East. It always has been. You cannot lump the two together when you're talking about land, air, water, environment, if you don't mind using that word, and some other similar things. So this is Western Water Infrastructure to the Bureau of Reclamation, a water management agency within the Interior Department, to support projects that bolster Western water resilience. The bill also provided $50 billion in funding for drinking and clean water under the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency's water infrastructure programs, plural, programs. I'm going to stop for a moment, pause just to drink some water. Okay. And while it is critical to monitor and prepare for extreme storms, we must also continue to protect our region's local water sources. Here is something I didn't know existed. The San Gabriel Basin aquifer, which covers 160 square miles, provides 90% of the water supply needs to over 1.4 million people who reside in or near the San Gabriel Valley. That's pretty much east of Pasadena area, Arcadia, and south of the San Gabriel Mountains, the Inland Empire. In 1983, the EPA declared 4 separate Superfund sites. Remember the Superfund days? In portions of the basin after discovering contamination. In order to oversee cleanup efforts of the basin, California established the San Gabriel Basin Water Quality Authority in 1993, and in 2000, Congress created the San Gabriel Basin Restoration Fund to pay for these activities. And the previous representative of the area, Grace Napolitano, and Congresswoman Chu secured $25.5 million in community project funding for the basin water cleanup between 2022 and 2024. Okay, the San Gabriel Mountains also provide 1/3 of LA County's drinking water. So protecting these public lands is critical to ensuring a lasting water supply for our communities. So it turns out that Congressional District 28 is quite a big deal when it comes to providing water to the people, drinking water and so forth, to the people of LA County, LA. That's why I have long worked on legislation to expand what is called the San Gabriel Mountains National Monument. And you may have heard an announcement that came from President Biden's office about expanding the monument. Last year, President Biden used his authorities under the Antiquities Act, and we're hearing more about the Antiquities Act, preserving the earth of North America, the United States, and what's in it, on it, and around it, to make this expansion a reality. President Biden expanded the monument by an additional 105,919 acres. This expansion includes parts of the Western Angeles National Forest, just what we were looking at in that expanded map, where the Angeles National Forest comes down over Pasadena, La Cañada, Sunland, all that area, down through the foothills to I-5 and then west. It's that it ceases to be the Angeles National Forest down in those foothills, which is home to critical, needed, and necessary waterways like the Big Tahunga Creek and Reservoir, and most of the Pacoima Reservoir. So the Pacoima Reservoir is in the Western Angeles National Forest, and this expansion is a major step forward in protecting our region's water supply. President Biden's proclamation was accompanied by an announcement of millions of dollars in new investments into the San Gabriel Mountains National Monument, including a new field staff, enhanced visitor engagement and interpretation resources, trash and pollution mitigation, and more. So we have worked for years to improve protections for the San Gabriel Mountains while preserving and water quality and water rights. So this is a major accomplishment. So that was the message from Congresswoman Chu's office. Now, I want to say a little bit that I picked up from Wikipedia on Pacoima Dam. It gives some measurements, but I'm not a person who's not a surveyor. Pacoima Dam is a concrete arch dam on Pacoima Creek in the San Gabriel Mountains in LA County. The reservoir it creates, Pacoima Reservoir, has a capacity of 3,777 acre-feet. Built by LA County Flood Control District, became part of the Department of Public Works. It was completed way back in 1928. That means 96 years ago. At the time, the 371-foot dam was the tallest arch dam in the US. The dam is situated approximately 1 mile northeast of Sylmar, above the San Fernando Valley. Again, it could be like Lakeview Terrace. It's part in 29, part in 30, or maybe it is all in 30 as well. As a flood control structure, district routinely compensates for hydraulic deficiencies in downstream areas by restraining flows of stormwater released from the dam. The district routinely compensates for hydraulic deficiencies in downstream areas by restraining flows of stormwater released from the dam. As construction of Pacoima Dam began, LA hired Richard Roy Carlson as their concrete and soil testing engineer. He developed the world's first strain meter, which could be embedded in concrete. He developed an adiabatic calorimeter and electrical resistance thermometers to find why the temperature of concrete increased during curing and how best to avoid cracking caused by these stresses. Calorimeter. Wow. Okay, so that is all that I have in these notes. But I do want to see if I can go back up and pick up some of these. Well, we're going to stop sharing that page. And just for a minute, share this again. Let's see. This is San Fernando. So I do believe that Pacoima Reservoir is that Hanson Dam might be part of that hydrometer controls or whatever. It's up in here somewhere, I do believe. Pacoima Reservoir. This is not it, as far as I know. This is something else. That could be Pyramid Lake, but I don't think so, because Pyramid Lake is up across from, I think Pyramid Lake is across from Valencia, then there's Castaic Lake, Lake Hughes Road. All right, it's over. I thought, if memory served me, that's Lake Peru. That may be the one that I used to see from the highway, I guess so. Lake Peru. In any event, when you're driving in and out of LA, going towards Bakersfield or coming from it, Lake Peru's here, Castaic Lake, you have the pass over here. Here's Pyramid Lake. You do see Pyramid Lake on that stretch. And then Gorman. Here's the turnoff for Lancaster. Gorman. This is Castaic Lake. It's more of it, I guess. And that's how that goes. Right, Finn. So it follows this pathway through. Castaic Lake. It's a big deal for recreation. Santa Clarita, Newhall. That's it. And that's this is the area. So what the point that I wanted to bring out, I'm going to stop sharing for a minute here. The point I wanted to make is, by studying all of this, what is this? Go away, whoever you are. Okay. the point I wanted to make about studying this and thinking about the water coming to this area is that it does appear to me that the key areas for these, the places where they have to collect water now, which they thought maybe for the past 100 years, and maybe they still think it, the area to really collect water was where the Los Angeles National Forest and the San Gabriel Mountains came down into here, and then the cities were developed up along here. So they have, here's Lake View Terrace, so Handsome Dam is around in here, and maybe so is Pyramid Dam. Or, yeah, Pacoima Dam, is that what I said? Handsome Dam and Pacoima Reservoir. It's in here. 29, 30, 28. There's 20, this may be an older map. 27 is in here too. Here. And up over in here, a little ways, where my white arrow is above my head, it's getting into 23, J. Obernold's district, out in the Mojave Desert. Up here, out of District 27 is see, the north end of the valley goes all the way up, like in through here. If you go up from Santa Clarita, then you go into District 20, which is very vertical and looped around. It loops around Bakersfield. It goes along the south corner, bottom edge of the Sierra Nevadas. And all this leads out to the desert. But it would seem to protect the vast population in this area, this is the area where you'd see water going this way, water going this way, water going this way, water coming down here, water coming over here. And there could even be water coming this way, cut water this way, water this way, water this way. So this is a critical management area. If you're going to manage anything, just don't let the water go off wherever it wants to. You can't do that. So this is a critical area. And if they send water this way, if it wants to go this way, plus they send it this way, so to speak, then you replenish the Mojave Desert and Antelope Valley and out Apple Valley around Victorville and that area. I'm stopping sharing of this. That's about it. That's all I'm going to say about that. So that's the point. Be thinking about when you hear what's to happen there, and this will go all the way across Ventura County. And then that area over there has mountains all up the ridge of the West Coast, very close to the shoreline, the coastal range. There are mountains up around Ojai, and then they drop down as the San Gabriel Mountains drop down. On the north side, they drop down into the desert around Cachuma Lake. There is a reservoir near Santa Maria called, there's Twitchell Reservoir and there's Cachuma Reservoir. And that area will be needing reservoirs and to collect a lot of water because they have dry land with sinks in it where the land has collapsed. The land has collapsed. The farmers drained it in the past. And now, and they want to continue. They're saying, well, we still have more time. We have more time. We want to continue to drain it and drain it and drain it some more and drain it some more and take the water and we'll build little irrigation canals and channels and we'll keep doing what we always did. The jig is up. I say the jig is up. So you've got to start managing as if you've come to a realization that the jig is up. the water's coming to fill in all these areas, and how are you gonna, you know, are you gonna have a big canal that goes out from Acton to Barstow to Vegas? I mean, I would suggest thinking outside the frame of your waterways, outside the box, outside the river channels, outside that framework, and thinking about all the different ways water will go. And as I always say, how do you want to live out there if you choose to live out there or up there or over there? How do you want it to be? And start making your plans, because the state is definitely making its plans. It's shooting out big stories daily now about the big water tunnel is coming to take the water from the Sacramento River and the San Joaquin Delta and bring it down to the dry lands for the farmers. The farmers are not having a problem with water, having enough of it. They're having a problem accepting they won't be growing as much in the way of crops. Now, I don't know what they are saying about rangeland and ranches. Ranches are great for grazing animals. It's not just growing whatever, weeds, green crops, orchards, cannabis, whatever. I don't even know anything about how cannabis fits into a watery setting. I know it takes a lot of water. It takes a tremendous amount of water when they put these secret grows in everywhere. It's a big deal to get all the pipes to drain, to attach illegally to the water pipes to bring the water in to grow the plant. So, and there are a lot of illegal grows out in the Mojave Desert. That's where they take the illegal people crossing illegally in ventless vans way out there in the Mojave Reserve and set them up to take care of marijuana grows. So thinking about all of that, I have no reason to stop thinking that that whole area, desert, near desert or desert, is going to have a lot more water. Thank you very much. May 16th, 2024. Near desert experience.